gallon of sanitizer for $45. I'll tell you what to do. Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing? So we're getting ready to do meal prep for the week, I believe, and I'm doing beef stew. My husband is coming to home, and he enjoys beef stew. Me and the girls, we're not big on beef stew and stuff, but anyway, so we're gonna make beef stew. So I have my beef here. I've been cutting it now, and Eniola is preparing the pepper. So we use dried pepper. This is what it looks like. We don't use red pepper anymore because red pepper is very expensive. Say good morning.
Good morning.
Okay.
My hair looks crazy right now.
And so she's cutting those up for me and putting them in here. She has already helped me chop some red onions, and that is something that I like about the girls being home at this time. It's like I have a lot of helpers in the kitchen, and Tolani is here picking the F4. This is actually collard greens. We use collard greens sometimes, and this is the big batch that she's picking. So one thing is this, I personally don't care, but my husband doesn't like stems, and this brand, I don't like this brand of collard green, but yeah, get a chair, come and help your sister. I don't like this brand of collard green because it has a lot of these stems in there, so we have to pick all the stems in there. So usually this is something that I would do. Say good morning. Good morning. So Eniola is going to keep on helping her because I'm doing that. And here, I'll tell you, here I'm making, this is stockfish, and I'm making it soft so that I can mix it in the F4. So that's pretty much what we're doing. I was using this knife before. This is my knife that I was using, and my knife is no longer sharp, and I totally forgot that I have this knife. I don't even know where I bought it from, but it's from Sharper Image, and this knife is so sharp. Let me show you. Okay, so this is meat, and usually when I buy meat, they've already cut it for me, but watch this. Look at this knife. See that? One cut. Let me show you again. Look at this. See, I just put it on it, and look. See, no force, even though I don't know what this fat thing is doing there. See, the fat stuff is the only one that gets really slimy. I got to remove all this off. So see, just peel all this off, and you have to be careful, don't cut yourself off. So I think with that one, what I do is I just get the scissors and I cut it with the scissors. So this is what I use to cut my scissors, but I just like cutting my meat, and then yeah, I'm not a big fan of meat. But I like cutting my meat and cutting off all this fat stuff. But anyway, let me show you. I want to show you the knife itself. So this is the knife. So watch this. See? Look at that. You see? How we just cut it. This knife. Gang, gang, gang. Okay, so the meat is done, it's cleaned, everything. Ooh, it's cleaned, it's rinsed off. I just always like to put a little bit of water in there. So I'm going to set this aside. And now I'm going to show you to rinse this. We're going to disinfect all this area later. So next is my tomatoes. So I usually take my tomatoes from the freezer because we buy a whole bunch of tomato. But I always want to make sure that my tomato doesn't have nasty stuff inside. So when I take it out of the freezer, I just leave it in water like this, and you see. And I also do the same thing for my habanero. So lately, I bought this habanero that was like mixed colors habanero. So I got a yellow one, and I'm just going to put that. So this is the peppers that Eniola has already chopped up for us. And let me show you what this pepper looks like that Eniola chopped up for us. I'll show you. So this is it. Is this peppers that you can get from the any area in the dry foods area. Let me see if I can open it up. Yeah. So this is what it looks like when you get the pepper. So they look like this. and then you soak it in hot water for about 2 hours, and then you can start using. And this, I learned about doing this from a YouTuber, someone that follows up Life with Rosie. She has a cooking channel, and I learned so much from her cooking channel. So that's what that is. So now I'm going to show you the peppers. So this is the habanero pepper. It looks like this. So I'm just gonna, usually I'll just take it and I will cut it into half just to make sure that it's not rotten inside. And I'm gonna do the same thing, keep on doing it. I always have a container right here, and that's like my trash container, so that I'm not using the big trash can. So just open it and make sure everything looks good. And then this is a black habanero. I think I showed you guys in an earlier video showing black habanero. This is the same thing. So for the tomatoes, this might, ooh, water has run over. Okay, let's turn that off. So for the tomato, this is what it looks like, but because you froze it, so the inside has also melted. So when you open it up, liquid is gonna gush out of it. The water liquid is gonna gush out of it, but you do want to open it up. I've never had an incident that the tomato is nasty inside. So I usually just take it and open everything up like this. And this tomato was washed and cleansed in white vinegar before I froze it. So this is what I do. So this is my meat. So we're making a whole bunch of meat. I'm not going to be using all this meat. I'm going to make some, and then I'm going to keep some so that I'm not always making meat all the time. Usually when I take a whole batch of meat, so this is Maggi bouillon cubes, but this is bouillon cubes that doesn't have MSG. We don't use products with MSG in this house because for us it has caused migraines and so many health issues, so we skip it. If you want to know more, I have it in the description area. And then I take some curry, also use some curry with this. So let's open that up. I'm gonna put some curry. And then I also add some thyme in my seasoning. So once I add this seasoning, whenever I'm making my stew, I just use the broth from this. And then I also take the chopped onion that Eniola has chopped for us. Take that, sprinkle that in there real good, and just mix everything. Make sure everything mixes before I put it on the fire. So I'm just mixing everything so that if I see I need to put some more seasoning, I do everything here. And people always ask me, they're like, oh, how do you keep your stove so clean? This is one way. Sometimes things that I know will splatter, I'll do it away from the stove. Okay, so all this stuff, I'm gonna get a cover and just cover it. So this one is set, so we're good with that. So the next thing is just to make the stew. You can see my stockfish is done, but with stockfish it bubbled. Okay, so you have to be very careful. So since it bubbled immediately, I'm gonna take this guy and I'm going to clean the stove. So this is the cleaner that I'm using. Let's take that immediately. Make sure that nothing is hot. Okay, so you always want to clean as you go because you don't want to wait until last minute because that gives you more work to do. So I'm just taking this and I'm just gonna quickly wipe it, and you see to just be, and because the stove is hot already, so it wipes up very quickly. Everything back the way that it was. See? Okay, so this is the tomato that I chopped and I let it sit for a while. I don't start blending it immediately. And so what I do next, I'll tell you what I do next. So what I do next is I get my sieve. You see, I put all the peppers and everything there, and any liquid that was ice before will actually float up, and then the tomato itself, just the tomato, will be there on top. You can see the water is over there. So now I'm going to just strain it off. So all this water is from the frozen part. I don't want that in my tomato. Okay, so my husband just sent me a text. It was like, as he was driving by, he just stopped at this random store and they were selling sanitizer, a gallon of sanitizer for $45. $45 for a gallon of sanitizer. So my husband was like, should I buy it? What should I do? Leave it or buy it? I said, in this day and age that we're in right now, you better buy it. So it's $45. I can't even believe that I'm saying buy. I don't even know how much normal 1 gallon of sanitizer is. But $45 for 1 gallon. I know that when I bought a big bottle way back when, it was like $5. So a gallon would have been 20 something dollars, maybe 30, I don't know. But I said, boy, get it please, because who knows where we're gonna find sanitizer again, and the one we have is almost done. So we need sanitizer. So I'm here watching TY Vlogs, and she's talking about this great few kitchen hacks every woman should know. I tell you, you guys, it's really good. I'm gonna link a video up here so that you guys can go check it out. So it is TY Vlogs. Check her out. So I didn't blend this super smooth because I'm going to take part of this. You see how this is really thick? I'm going to take part of it and use it for my riro. Okay, so I'm just going to use this amount for my riro, and then I'm going to blend this one more smoother, and I'll use that one for my stew. So I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to boil this stew just a little bit to get more liquid out before I make the stew. Okay, so my meat is done. You can see my meat is done. So what I do is I will take the meat, because I don't fry my meats. I just put it, I bake it. And when I bake it, it's as if I'm frying it, because the oils from the meat actually acts as if I'm frying it. So just take it. I put it in parchment paper. I'm trying not to use aluminum foil. There's just, I don't know. And I'll show you one thing that I do to keep my oven clean all the time, so that my oven looks as if I just bought it. You guys, you see my oven, you see how clean it is. So what I do is, after I load up the baking pan, I now take parchment paper and I lightly cover another layer. Don't worry, it's still going to work. I lightly cover it. You can actually even fold a little bit so that the heat can get in, but the heat will get in. And after I do that, I just place it into the oven. So this way, when it's cooking, it's not splattering and making my oven more dirty. And then I don't even need to clean my oven after doing all this. Hey, win-win. So now that I'm done with this, I do the same thing that I always do. You see, it's part of this splatter. So all I just have to do is just clean this like how I did the last time. So just clean as you go, always clean as you go. Okay, so this is the vegetable. Look how beautiful it is. So what I do now is, the girls have picked the big stem. They can't pick everything. So I just take it and I just squeeze. I'm trying to squeeze as much water out of it. And I can squeeze the water somewhere else, but for me, squeezing it in one place is just convenient. So I just try and squeeze as much water out, and so that we can now prepare the vegetable soup, or the riro. So this is my pot. I always put fire on my pot like this before I start using it, and then I add my palm oil to it. Just gonna add a little bit of palm oil like that, and let my palm oil just heat up just a little bit before I introduce my pepper and mixture. So this is all the stuff that I use. I have my locust beans, my stock fish, my pepper mixture, salt, black pepper, onion powder, and I also will use a little bit of Maggi, and my collard greens will go in last. I'm also going to add some mushroom to it, because I like adding just a little bit of mushroom to it. Okay, so now you guys see the oil is hot. I'm going to reduce the fire to low, and then what I do next is I'm going to add the mushroom to it. Okay, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of the locust beans, just a little bit. Okay, gonna mix this in it. Okay, I'll be adding my black pepper. Put some black pepper in there. And my Maggie Tolani. And Tolani is there. She's peeling some shrimp for me, removing the tail of the shrimp and everything. And we're going to add that in there too. So I'm going to add some of the Maggi, because you know I'm not using the beef broth in this one. So I'm adding some Maggi in it. And for some reason I like adding my spices to the oil, because I find that when I do that, for some reason it makes it taste better. So after doing this, I will be adding, this is my stock fish. Now my stock fish, I'm not adding everything, because some of it I'm going to preserve for the next time. The stock fish I like having uneven sizes. Some of them will be normal, some of them will be medium. Now I'm going to show you guys something. You see these bones that are in it? The bones are very soft bones. You see how these bones is just crumbling? It's very soft bones. I'm going to pick another bone. So let me pick another bone. I know the oil is hot. Ah, God. Oh my, let me find one bone from here. The bone for the stock fish, you can see the bone, it breaks very easily. This is easy. You see it's soft bone, very soft bone, and when you cook it even more, it will be soft. So children, you don't have to worry about it for children and stuff. Let's mix this in there, and then I will be mixing in, bless you, Eniola. Eniola is our camera woman. I'm going to be mixing in my pepper. This is my coarsely chopped peppers. So this one is not as smooth. Now I'm just going to mix this. I'm going to increase my fire now to medium. Isn't this beautiful? Look at the color. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Okay. So once this is cooking, if you look to the next pot, you can see this is my pot for my stew. Whew. You see the pot is already dried. So you guys see the stew is already dried. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add oil to it. So I'm going to add oil like this. You can cook this outside, you know, you can first cook the oil and stuff, but this is how I do mine at times. And the oil will fry the pepper just a little bit. So I'm not, you notice I've not added salt, I've not added any spices. So let me get another spoon. So this is gonna fry the stew. Okay, so I'm gonna fry this for about, I want to say about 5 to 7 minutes. Just let it fry really good. So now this is the this is my F4 sauce for the F4. So I'm gonna add in my shrimps. Just add in the shrimps to it. And then when I add in my shrimp, I have my onion powder, just because I've blended onion in it, but I also like, for some reason, I like the way the onion powder does. This onion powder particularly, I don't know why it does, it cakes. So I put some onion powder in there, and then I add the last of the iru. So the remaining of the iru, add that in there, and then I give it a good mix. A good mix. Okay. So when I give it a good mix, and then I'm going to add my F4 in it and let this just cook for about 5-10 minutes. It should be ready. So that's why it is called F4 riro, because I'm mixing it. Riro, ro means mix in Yoruba. My F4 is not complicated. Some people might put meat, so you can add meat to it, but I don't, because my husband likes a little stew with it. So, but you can see how nice it looks, rich it looks, and you can see it's not watery. You see there's no water in there. Let me turn on this light. Is that better? No. My daughter said no. She's camera woman, so I'll show you, because my husband doesn't like seeing any water. I always make sure that there's no water. So we're just gonna mix this real good, and then I will be cooking that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes will be enough, because you know, whenever later on you want to warm it up, when you are warming stuff up again, you are cooking it again. And vegetables, you don't want to overcook the nutrients out of the vegetable. So this is what it looks like. So let's cook that, and then let's move on to our stew right over here. So this is the stew. It has been fried, and the oil, you see the oil is coming to the top. I don't like using a lot of oil in my stew because a lot of oil is not good for you. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my broth. You guys remember the broth from the meat? So I'm going to add a little bit of that, not everything. I'm going to add a little bit of that. Mix that in. Okay. Now this stew is a bit thick, so I want to add just some more. I might even add everything. And if you know, I've not added salt again. There's no need, but always do taste to see. So while this is cooking for a little while, I've not introduced my meat because we need to check the meat. So let's close this, and I'm gonna go and check my meat. So remember the meat that I told you that I don't fry my meat. This time is not the time for us to be unhealthy. So I'm going to take the meat and I'm going to open up this meat. So just remove the cover. And you see there's no splatter. And I'll show you what my meat looks like. See, look at it, as if I fried it. You see this meat? As if I fried it. And the longer you keep in there, the more it looks fried. So this one now, with my stew, I can now start introducing it in there. You guys use a fork or something. I'm just so used to using my hand on hard stuff. So I'm gonna put that in there so that everything cooks in with the meat. So remember, we're just using a little bit of this meat over here. This stew still looks a bit thick for me. What do you think, Anyama? It looks kind of thick. So
yeah.
Okay. So you see, since it looks a little bit thick, so what I'm going to do now is, remember when we blended our stew, because this is no wasting. When we blended our stew, I put a little bit of some water to rinse this container. So that's the water. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that water. Now remember, when you introduce water, and you have to taste for the salt level to see if the salt level has been compromised. Salt, so just a little bit. I don't need to add salt, so I'm pretty good. So, someone's at the door. Who is it? Oh, my neighbor. So my neighbor brought Easter gift for the girls, and yeah, so you know, we're so grateful. We're so grateful. Yeah. Okay. So the way I know my stew is ready is when you see the oil appear on top, you know your stew is ready. So this is my stew. Okay, I don't know why I'm talking like that, but anyway, so this is the stew. You guys see it's not so thick now, but still it has some some extra. It's not just water, but you see, even though it's not so thick, you can still pour it. So the stew is ready. That's out of the way. And my riro too is ready. Look at the face of the stew. Okay, look at it. Look at that. You guys, so this is our Niger style meal prep. Once you have stew and you have vegetable, you're good to go. The rest is just to make rice and make swallow, as they call it. So inyo, eba, semo. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you in another video. Thank you. Bye.